Hi, I'm Jen Parese, and I am going to show you how to prepare a fast, easy, delicious, and healthy comfort meal. So I have an array of food here. Mexican is one of my favorite. But to be able to start a Mexican meal from scratch in today's hectic business world is not always the easiest thing. So what I do is I do what I call Cheaters Mexican. So I have cans of organic beans. I have a tricolor bean medley. I have black beans, dark red kidney beans, and cannellini beans, which I just pop into a pot. You can see this little pot. Very easy to do. So just scoop them in. And again, it really doesn't take much to do this. I pre-opened everything, but you'll know how to open a can. I don't need to give you directions on that. I'm dealing with the smart people here. And again, one of the things that you want to do when you're making a meal is not just worry about the ingredients, how they taste and how good they are for you. You want to look at the color array also, because beautiful plating and eye-appealing foods also start the digestive process. They start the taste process. So I just put the black beans, the kidney beans, and the cannellini beans in. And I throw in, I don't usually like corn. It's a little bit of a high sugar food and can be hard to digest. But in cases like this, where I'm making a medley, I really do like it. So I mix it in with the beans. As you can see, it gives it a nice pop of color. Now, if I were making this from scratch, I would have soaked the beans overnight, and I would have put in diced tomatoes, and I would have put celery and oregano and some cumin. But I'm going for the fast and easy, so I'm doing salsa. So most of the ingredients that I have here, if not all, are organic. If they're not organic, they are non-GMO. I'm a big believer in that. What we put into our body is what nourishes our body, is how we feel, how we look, how we act, and how we carry ourselves in the world. So again, it's just a very simple mix it up dish here. And it just goes on the stovetop. And I would say 10 minutes, 15 minutes just to blend the flavors together, just to get it hot, so that when you put it into your burrito shell, into your tortilla shell, which I have here, it's already warm and ready to go. Nobody wants to try frying a cold innard on a burrito. It doesn't taste good when it comes out. So this is what I have, what it looks like after it's been cooking for a while. There you go. So I'm going to let it sit a little longer. That's a great, thanks, Frank. My trusty husband is being my playing cameraman today, so he gets to zoom in when I have something that needs to be shown. That option would be a vegetarian option. It's not vegan. I do have sour cream and I do have real cheese. You could use cheese or sour cream substitute if you want to go vegan on this. And I also often substitute in an organic whole milk Greek grass-fed yogurt for sour cream. I had sour cream in the house, so that's what I'm using. These chicken strips, because I'm going to do one beef, one bean, and one chicken, are also kind of cheater strips. I got them in one of my local big wholesale clubs. So it's just these beautiful chicken strips that come in a package. So they are also very easy to use. I just chop them up, just small enough to put into one of the burritos if I need to. You have to know your audience. So working from home is interesting. My daughter's just popping through. She's behind my cameraman. Bye, sweetie, love you. So kind of got to roll with it. We are all rolling with the times these days, working from home. It's kind of has some drawbacks, but it has some pluses. I get to stay with the family and with the pets, and you might hear them in the background. So I'll give you fair warning that they are there. So that's it for the chicken. Don't really have to do a lot of work for the chicken. Like I said, it's already done. And this steak is just a steak that we actually had the other night for dinner. It's a little bit of a leftover. If you want to, I always keep kitchen shears around. For things, something like chicken strips, it's actually easy to just chop it with shears if you want to. If you want to go old school and use a knife, you can do that also. And as you can see with the steak, I'm just chopping it up, actually just in little slices. I'm not even really going to dice it. It'll cook up nicely in there when I cook up the burrito. So these steak strips are all ready to go also. And while the burritos are cooking, I'm going to chop up some cilantro and onion for you. So I don't like to make a lot of waste and a lot of mess when I'm cooking. So I try to reuse as much as I can. I try to be as neat as I can when I do cook up, simply because it makes the cleanup at the end easier. So our chicken strips are there. I'll do the onion first. So onions are pretty easy to do. I did not pre-chop it. I'm not sure if anybody needs instructions on chopping onions, but I'm doing it just in case. So pretty simple. The onion skin, you just want to peel it off. So again, pretty simple to just peel the onion skin right off. Pretty simple. Live camera. There you go. So for onions, I'm using this as a topper. So I want to make it, not too small, not mincing it. I'm just dicing it. So it'll be really easy to put onto the top of the burritos that I'm going to fry up. So, you think frying, right? And you think that pan frying is bad. Actually, I'm just using a little bit of olive oil on the bottom of the pan. I'm not deep frying them. So it's just going to give it a little bit of a pop of flavor. It's going to brown those burritos so you're not eating a raw tortilla shell. It just does make a difference in the long run for flavor. Everything, again, like I said, is flavor as well as eye appeal, as well as healthy eating. So cilantro, one of my favorites. Not everybody likes it. It's one of those tastes that people either love it or hate it. I think the first time I tried it, actually didn't like it. It tasted like soap. So I did down the road develop a taste for it. So rough chop on the cilantro because it's being used as a garnish. I might put some inside. I don't really like it cooked up. I do prefer it fresh and raw. So see, easy peasy on all of that. So to wrap up the burritos is pretty easy. The meal can also be made two ways. So with the beans, it's not keto, obviously, but the meats, the cheese, the salsa, as long as the salsa doesn't have sugar in it, the onions and the cilantro are all keto ingredients. So if you wanted to do keto or paleo, you could do corn tortillas or over a salad rather than the flour tortillas. The corn tortillas don't really fry up very well. So I prefer to use the flour tortillas. So I am going to start with my bean tortillas. I do have a little bit of olive oil heating in the pan. There's just about a tablespoon here. So it's really not, like I said, a lot of olive oil. You can see that. Just enough to coat the pan. I might need a little bit more. So for 3 burritos, I'm looking at about a tablespoon and a half to 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Not a lot, especially since most of it stays in the pan. I like to use an organic extra virgin olive oil. There are differences in olive oil, so you want to keep an eye out on that. There are links to look at, and I'll post them below on which olive oils are fake olive oils, which are highly processed, and which are actually good for us. So on the burrito, you don't really want to overstuff it. You want to just put it a little bit off to the center. See how nice that mix looks, nice and warm. Put a little onion in there. Just give it a little bit of an extra pop of flavor and maybe some cilantro. And you know what? Let's just put a little cheese in to cement it together. I'm a big fan of cheese. I know a lot of people don't really love it, but I couldn't imagine a world without cheese. Both food and cheesy jokes. I know my husband just rolled his eyes. So that's one burrito. Put that aside. It's a nice little pocket. The next one I'm going to do is basically the same thing. I am going to layer the cheese first on this one and put some of the chicken strips that I have in that I've chopped up right into there. And I think I'll do the same thing. I'll just add a little bit of onion and a little bit of cilantro. So when I first started doing these, I used to put salsa inside, and then I realized it was too messy because as I cooked, things sometimes opened up. The salsa was a little bit too liquidy to go into the frying pan. When it heats up, it gets even more liquidy. So I decided as I was going along to just do it a little bit differently and use the salsa as a topper. So I have 2 of them done. This is the third one. The third one I'm going to do steak. So we've got this cheese that can go in. Now you can tailor these ingredients to each person. These actually plate up really beautifully. And what's nice about Mexican like this is you can pick the ingredients. So if you have a handful of people in your family, or even if you have guests, you can ask each person what they want in the burritos. You can have them build their own, so you make it like a family affair kind of thing, which is nice. It brings everybody into the kitchen. The kitchen is the hub. It's the heart of the home. So you kind of want to keep everybody going in there. And it gives them a little bit of ownership of what they're eating also. So last one, that would be the steak burrito that we're doing. And you'll be able to see through which ones they are. The bean I did a little bit separately. So just make sure that the pan is heating up. In the meantime, I've got the other beans cooking in the background. So it looks a little bit different. When they're not cooked up, you can see that the colors haven't really blended together. And again, it's about the flavors blending through. The olive oil, I heat up a little bit higher than mid-range. I just want to wait until it's heated up. So one of the things that I like to talk about is how food feeds not just our body, but our soul. So you ever notice when you go out to dinner, food's good. It's nice that somebody else has cooked. You don't have to clean up. But you never quite come home feeling satisfied. It just seems like there's a little something missing. And what I've learned in my years in the kitchen is that what's really missing is the element of care and love. So food is a little bit more than just feeding the body. We have to look at it like it's caretaking for ourselves, for our family, for anybody who's around us that we want to feed. And food, while it nourishes the body, also nourishes the mind, because we are feeding ourselves. We're able to focus on things that we need to, not on the body thinking, oh, I'm hungry, I can't get anything done. So it's super important to keep that element in too. So what I've done, I'm not doing the burritos on a plate. I'm doing them over a plate of arugula. So generally, I would use like a mixed blend, but I feel like in these winter months, although it's kind of warm out today, which is nice, it's pretty sunny and it's snow out, I like a little burst of flavor. And arugula has a nice peppery bite to it. Plus, it has a lot of really good nutrients in there. So the darker the greens, the better they are, the more iron they have. So I just buy a bagged arugula mix. This has been pre-washed. So I'm going to put them, like I said, the burritos over this bed of arugula. Arugula has a funny tendency to turn very quickly. So I had opened up this bag earlier and I've got some yellow leaves on it. It was by the stove, so it did wilt a little bit. But once you put the burritos over the top, it's not going to make a difference. We're getting there. It's not going to make a difference in the arugula being a little wilty from the heat, because it's going to wilt anyway. So these three will be over here. We're looking at like 2 or 3 minutes per burrito per side. It's not really a terribly long time to cook. So I'll put them in. Generally, 3 to a pan is what fits in there, at least in this pan that I have. As you can see, I've got my olive oil dispenser here. And if you could pan over a little bit, Frank. So this is the big batch that's cooking, and this is the one that I showed you before that's already cooking up. So I'm going to put that on high for a little bit. And I want to talk about some tips for reading labels. One of the things I mentioned earlier is keto style eating or healthy style eating. Whether you eat keto or not, whether you eat paleo or not, whether you do a vegan or vegetarian diet, you should always look for hidden ingredients. So I'm a big label reader. Life is easier when you don't read labels, but the reality is long-term it's not, because you're putting ingredients into your body if you don't read labels. And there are ingredients in there that are not healthy for us that cause long-term problems. My biggest one that I avoid whenever I can is sugar. Sugar has gotten a bad rap lately, and I think deservedly so. Sugar tends to raise our pH, our body's pH, which creates inflammation. And from inflammation comes all types of disease. So you really do want to limit sugar. Foods that have natural sugar are things like tomatoes and onions and the fruits that we eat. So our body's getting enough without refined processed sugar. So this salsa that I used, although it is organic, did have sugar in the ingredient list. So added sugars you'll find in the ingredients. Natural sugars you'll find in the caloric count, in the nutrition count. That's okay, because they are natural. Like celery has its own sugar. You don't really want to eat a lot of foods that have sugars in them. And it's amazing to find it's amazing. Come with me, take a walk. It's amazing to find what foods have sugar in it. I had a client who was getting doing reading labels, and they had bought lemon pepper. And they brought the bottle of lemon pepper into me, and sure enough, there was sugar in the lemon pepper. So even in our seasonings, we really have to watch what's in there. So you could hear them popping away in there in the olive oil. I'm going to put it down a bit. So I just take a little peek, and as you can see, they're starting to puff up on the bottom. That's when you know that the burritos are almost ready to flip over. So one of the advantages to having the ingredients heated up beforehand is that the burritos don't have to the burritos don't have to stay as long in the pan and burn because the ingredients inside are already heated up. So look how pretty that is. So I have my bean, I have my chicken, I have my steak right here. So it's just going to take another minute or so. Put the lid back on this one. This one's fine the way it is. Give it a little stir here so it doesn't burn. Give it on a medium heat also. As you can see, my little coffee first sign. I function a little bit on caffeine these days, which, trying to limit it, but gal's got to do what a gal's got to do. So here you can see right here, this is the chicken burrito. I'm sorry, the steak burrito. This is the bean burrito. So when you flip them over, when you pull them out of the pan, you want to put the seam side down so you have a really pretty looking burrito. Because as I said before, visual appeal is as important as the taste. So food starts with our eyes. We start eating with our eyes. So we don't ever want to see something that's unappealing. So the way I finish this off is I'll put a little bit of salsa across the top. It's just a nice deep red there. I added a little bit more cheese across the top also. Now, again, you could always omit any of these ingredients. You could add extras. You could do it to taste. So don't feel like you're narrowed in by what it is I'm doing here. You can always change your ingredients around. You can use shrimp. You can use crab, lobster. You can use any sort of innards that you want, any sort of filling. Onions on top. You don't really need to dress the arugula because everything from these burritos is going to gush out when you're cutting into them. So you're basically going to have a salad, a natural dressing on your salad from the burrito filling itself. And I just put a little dollop of sour cream or yogurt or Greek yogurt if you want to, like I said. Some people flavor their sour cream. I'm a big fan of just plain old sour cream, just the way it is. And then the finishing touch is a little pop of green over the top, a little cilantro. And there you have it. Easy peasy, delicious, healthy comfort food made in your own kitchen. Any questions? Guys, pop in, put them in the comments below. I'll gladly answer them. If you have any further health needs, if you want to speak about wellness, immunity, you can find me at rumble.genxtalks.net. Again, that's rumble.genxtalks.net. Guys, it's been really helpful, really fun talking to you about easy cooking. We'll put some more up. Take care. Have a great day.